What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Lazy MMA, the best place for MMA picks on YouTube. Now listen, it's been a couple weeks since I've done one of these, but we are back and we are locked and loaded for this week's best bets. Now let me just stop wasting time here because this is the fucking Mcgregor card, ladies and gentlemen. This is something that's been anticipated for the last 5 years, something that we've all been waiting for. So now let's get right into it. Our underdog lock of the week is, of course, going to be
Where's your head at? 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 Where's your
And of course, I had to lock in Paddy the Baddy Pimblett at plus 120. Now listen, I get what you're saying, man. After that battering that Paddy's coming off of, it's hard to pick him. But listen, man, this is a bad stylistic matchup for BSD. BSD thrives in the grappling department. I would say he's a better wrestler than Paddy the Baddy Pimblett. However, when it comes to pure jiu-jitsu, I would say they're on equal ground, with me even leaning towards Paddy having the better jiu-jitsu. And keep that in mind. I think when BSC tries to engage in the wrestling, Paddy can throw out the front choke, throw out some darces, some anacondas, just to keep him weary and just to keep him off of his hips. And I think if he does that and he forces a standing up fight, BSD, he relies too heavily on out-voluming and outpacing his opponent. But what he does is plod forward and eat shots. He eats 10 to give 3. And I can't trust the durability of BSD to eat those shots from Paddy the Baddy Pimblett. BSD in every single one of his fights, he gets swollen up, he gets cut up, his eyes get swollen shut. That Renato Moicano fight, even that win off Dan Hooker, he's shown to be weak to the body. You know, he looked like he was gassed a little bit hurt at the end of round 1. And inevitably, he was able to beat Dan Hooker because he took him to the ground. But otherwise, Dan Hooker was stinging him all night, man. Dan Hooker, all numbers were on the side of Dan Hooker up until that last little sequence. And I think that if Paddy's able to throw out the front choke as a threat to keep BSD off of his hips, and he's going to force a standing up fight, BSD's head is there to get snapped back all day long. Paddy has the reach, Paddy has the length, Paddy has the power, and on top of that, Paddy's a huge lightweight. He is going to be the bigger man in this fight. I understand that UFC says he's 5'10", and BSD's 5'11". Those numbers are not accurate. Paddy the Baddy is the bigger man in this fight, and he's a rangier and longer man. And on top of that, man, I can't trust BSD's cardio. Time and time again, when we get to the second round and third round, he looks like a completely different person. He looks like he's gassed. And on the side of Paddy the Baddy Pimblett, though he got whooped by Gaethje, he went 5 rounds while getting his ass whooped. I can trust in him, and I can trust in him to be explosive for all 3 rounds. And for that reason, I'm going to lock in Paddy the Baddy Pimblett at plus 120. And here's another thing. We're also going to lock in the KO at plus 400. Book it, baby. Now listen, let's get to the most confident favorite section. For our first most confident favorite, we're going to go with Luke Riley over Kai Kamaka III at minus 270. Now listen, I understand that Kai Kamaka III has put together some wins outside and inside of the UFC in his last 5. He's looked all right. He's got the experience. He's the more veteran fighter. But Luke Riley, man, he's building. All momentum's on his side. He's got the cleaner boxing. He's got the power. He's got the explosivity. He's got the danger threat. He's even got the wrestling. You know, I mean, he's got the counter wrestling for sure. Kai Kamaka III relies very heavily on his kicks, and I think that he's going to overextend on one of these kicks and get clipped, man. Kai Kamaka III is not the smoothest, most explosive, most fast guy. What he is a really well-rounded guy overall that just always does just enough to beat you. Even in his last fight against Dakota Hope, he did just enough to beat Dakota Hope, but Luke Riley's not going to be going in there, going tit for tat, letting this go to a decision. Even in that fight against Michael Aswell, he's looking for the kill. And I think that when Kai Kamaka III is faced with heavy pressure and someone who's looking for the kill, he crumbles under pressure. He's a great tit for tat fighter, but not a great fighter when it comes to bang for bang. And I think that Luke Riley's going to spin his fucking jaw, and he's going to knock him out in the first or second round. So we have to lock him in at minus 270. Now let's go on to the next most confident favorite. We are going to lock in Adrian Yanez at minus 425. I said in my breakdown video, say it here. It breaks my heart to say because I love Cody No Love. Cody Garbrandt is a sick fucking fighter. He's an OG of the game, and his legacy is cemented forever. But the fact of the matter is, he, in the modern era, in the modern day, he's not a guy who wants to be in the cage. He does not want to fight. His volume is low. His wrestling, his chin, it's all gone, man. And even in his last fight against Long Zhao, the only reason he won was because of point deductions. And he was pretty much on the back foot running away the entire fight. And at one point, after he got kicked in the nuts and threw up, he was like, yeah, let's fucking go. And he threw out a flying knee, and then he went right back to going on his back foot. Adrian Yanez, on the other hand, is coming off a majority draw where it was a robbery. He should have won that fight against Ricky Simon. He battered him. And the only reason I don't think he chinned Ricky Simon is because that fucking huge watermelon head that is attached to Ricky Simon's shoulders. But in this fight, Adrian Yanez is looking for a bounce back spot, and he's looking for another opportunity to get back into the rankings. And I think a guy like Cody Garbrandt, he's the perfect guy to chin. You don't have to worry about the leg kick threat because, you know, Adrian Yanez does struggle with the leg kicks. And you don't have to worry about pressure, or you don't have to worry about Cody Garbrandt's jab. You can just force him against the cage, and I think Adrian Yanez is going to rip to the body and chin him in the first round. I hate to say it, I really do, because I'm a big fan of Cody No Love, but I can't put my faith in a guy who does not want to be in there. You know what I mean? It sucks, though. But Adrian Yanez at minus 425. Now let's go on to our next most confident favorite. We are locking at Loner Kavanaugh at minus 220. I really was hesitating putting in Loner Kavanaugh here. And that's because Brandon Royval is a proven veteran of the flyweight division. We know his ceiling. We've seen him fight the best of the best. And he's won some and lost some. But in this matchup, bro, what inevitably made me choose Loner Kavanaugh as the most confident favorite was Brandon Royval's last couple fights. And I don't mean that he got knocked out. I don't even mean he got knocked down by Joshua Van. You know, you can blame that as a one-punch chance and luck, but what I'm trying to say is he does not integrate his grappling as much anymore. And I think to beat a guy like Kavanaugh, you have to wear on his cardio, and I think you have to integrate the grappling and bring him down to the ground, lay down some ground and pound, and accentuate his cardio, because Loner Kavanaugh's style is explosive Muay Thai, and that takes a lot out of you, bro. He's on his fucking, the balls of his feet the entire fight. But Brandon Royval's not been doing that anymore. I don't know why. He just tries to stand and bang with these guys with this weird Philly shell thing. He's really flat-footed. He puts a lot of weight on that lead leg. And I think that Kavanaugh, you know, he introduced that lead leg kick against Brandon Moreno, can rip it all night long against Brandon Royval. I really think that he can break down Royval's stance, keep him at bay, break into range, land 2 or 3 shots, pop back out of range, and keep this fight where he wants to keep it. And I think that eventually, after breaking down Royval and taking away his tools and his reach and his length, Loner Kavanaugh will be able to land that KO shot in the 2nd or 3rd round. Now let's go on to the last most confident favorite, and we're going to the fucking main event. We're picking Max Holloway at minus 210. Why is he a most confident favorite? It's very fucking simple. If somehow Conor McGregor wins this fight, I will do a 1-mile run after shotgunning 4 beers. Because everything I know about the sport will be disproven. How can someone, because like, people are trying to give this a stylistic analysis, but it's like, dude, how is a stylistic analysis even relevant in this matchup? Conor McGregor hasn't fought in 5 years. He hasn't sparred, trained. He hasn't been in shape. And you can be like, oh, he's ripped. But like, that doesn't mean to be in fight-ready condition. He's also had surgery on his leg. He's also been a cocaine monkey, an alcoholic, a lot of things going on in the courts, and so forth. His head has been everywhere but the game. And the fact that this is at 170, McGregor's always had a cardio issue. I think if McGregor even comes down and batters Max Holloway for the first 2, it doesn't matter. I think Holloway will win this 3, 4, and 5. I think you can finish McGregor. I think you can take him to a decision. It doesn't matter. But I am going to have to pick Max Holloway to win this fight by finishing the 3rd or 4th round. And why? Not because Max Holloway's the hardest puncher, but because this guy's a cardio fucking freak. He averages 6 SIGs in a minute. He puts a fucking pace on his opponents that they cannot match. And if other guys can't match his pace, how is this washed up old man who hasn't trained or put in the work going to match the pace of Max Holloway? I can't put any faith in a guy who has just not been active. You know what I mean? It's as if like if a basketball player like Anthony Edwards took 5 years off right now and came back 5 years later without playing a lick of basketball, will he be as good as basketball as he was? No. There's a difference between an active guy and an inactive guy. And I get it. It's fucking Mac. The Mac is back, but I can't put my faith in a guy who's just not a part of the game anymore. He just isn't. You know what I mean? He's always going to be a legend and whatnot, but he's just not a part of the game. And for that reason, we have to lock in Max Holloway at minus 210. Now, let's go to my favorite section. Let's go to the notable underdogs. Now, listen, there's not a lot of plus money plays for notable underdogs that I could have come up with this week, but there are some close lines. And these close lines have made me pick these guys who I think could be a good parlay piece. Let's start off with the first most notable underdog in Robert Whittaker at minus 135. And we're also going to throw in the KO prop at plus 225. Listen, man, Bobby Knuckles is making his light heavyweight debut. This has been something that's been long awaited. And Krylov is kind of the perfect guy to make the debut against. Krylov is a 6'3" guy. He's very sloppy. He's very flat-footed. Great jiu-jitsu. Not the greatest wrestling. But he's also been chinned 2 times in the past year and a half violently. And the way that he moves is very reminiscent of an RDR. And we saw how Whittaker did against RDR. And I get that he lost a split decision, but he practically chinned RDR. And I think if that bomb lands on Krylov's going out, bro. I don't really see any ways to victory for Krylov, to be honest with you. I think if Krylov keeps him at bay with the teeps, with the leg kicks, and tries to break down Whittaker, and as the fight goes on, tries to introduce grappling, yeah, he can wear on Whittaker and maybe take him to a decision. But I think if Whittaker, with a lighter man skill, the faster opponent, the more cardio-driven opponent, he's going to be able to break in and out of range throughout the whole time. And I think he's going to be able to land bombs on Krylov, because Krylov is not the most defensively sound guy. That chin is fucking ripe for the taking. I think that Whittaker is going to be able to chin him and make a statement on Saturday night. Now listen, for our next most notable underdog, we're going to be locking in Terrence McKinney at minus 135, and we are also throwing in the round 1 KO prop at plus 240. Out of 22 fights in Terrence McKinney's pro career, 21 of them have ended in the first round. So it's safe to assume if Terrence McKinney's going to win, it's most likely in the first round. He's not going to divert from how he usually fights. And listen, man, Bobby Green, whenever I watch Bobby Green win or lose, I never think to myself, how good is Bobby Green or how bad is Bobby Green? He's kind of a milestone of how bad or how good is the person that he just fought. You know what I mean? He's a great guy to fraud check these young bucks that don't have the confidence, that don't have the experience, and don't have the ability to deal with him. But when it comes to a guy that's self-confident, that can break into his range, he's going to chin Bobby Green all night long. Bobby Green, man, this fight with your arms down by your side thing works only for so long. You know what I mean? And I can't imagine that Terrence McKinney's serious power, he's not a volume power, he's a guy with serious power and crazy unorthodox movements, is not going to land flush on Bobby Green's chin. And I think if he lands flush on Bobby Green's chin, Bobby's going out in the first. Bobby's able to push McKinney back and break him down and keep him alive until the second. He can make work in the second and third round because McKinney's never been there. But I don't think McKinney's going to allow that to happen. I think he's going to force Bobby Green into a firefight. And I think when Bobby Green gets forced into firefights, he goes out. So we're going to have to lock in McKinney by round 1 KO at plus 240 and money line at minus 135. Now let's go on to the value prop section. This is something that I came up with for this week. Now listen, I was looking through the props, I was looking through the card, and I was thinking, man, there's some good spots here, there's some hard spots here, but where's the value? For our first one, we're going to go with Kong Wang by decision at plus 220. Now listen, even if you think Cortez is going to win, this is a women's MMA fight. It's safe to assume that both of these women, whoever wins, is probably going to win by decision. So explain to me why, even though they're minus 110 both way, Cortez is plus 130 by decision, but Kong Wang is plus 220. The value is there. Not only do I think Kong Wang is going to win this fight, I think it's going to win on decision. And the odd movements make no sense whatsoever. Plus 220 is a fucking steal, in my personal opinion. I think she's going to pepper up Tracy Cortez from range. She's going to stuff Tracy Cortez's takedown attempts, maybe introduce her grappling of her own, maybe take Tracy Cortez's back, lay down some ground and pound, and secure herself a 29-28 or maybe even a 30-27 unanimous decision. I can't really see Cortez keeping this fight close. Other than that jab, Cortez doesn't have much, and Kong Wang has an incredible amount of volume that's hard to keep up with and hard to outmatch, you know? So we're going to have to lock her in at plus 220. And for the next value prop, we're going to go with Fareed Basrat by KO or submission at plus 100. Listen, bro, I understand that Fareed is a decision merchant. I understand that he gets split decisions in every single one of his fights, and you never know. Did he win this fight? Is he going to win the next one? You never know. But the thing is, man, this is an opportunity for him to seriously make a statement, to finally get a finish. The guy is fighting John Garza or John... Let me take a look at my phone, bro. John Garza, yeah. The guy he's fighting, John Garza, is 6-1. On the regional scene, he's had some difficulties with his opponents. He's not looked the greatest. He's on 6 days' notice. He's inexperienced. If Fareed Basrat isn't able to absolutely just dunk on this guy, cut him from the fucking UFC. You are supposed to be one of the best fighters in the world. This is a perfect opportunity for you to find a finish, whether that be KO or submission. And the fact that it's a plus 100 play, I think it has incredible amount of volume on it. How can you think that a guy who's on 6 days short notice is going to be able to survive until the bell? I can't put my confidence in that whatsoever, but I can put my confidence in a UFC veteran to finish an unexperienced regional scene prospect. And Fareed wraps up our value prop section. This has been our best bets for UFC 329 Mcgregor versus Holloway 2. Let me know down below who you have as your underdog lock of the week. Please consider subscribing and please consider liking because it does help out the channel. Lazy MMA, lazy analysis, serious results.